What's up, kids? Welcome to our second day of notes in a row. Imagine that. Lots of work. Today, we're going to learn how to play tic-tac-toe. Just kidding. We are going to learn how to do some more factoring. Okay, but we're going to use a tic-tac-toe board, and we're going to sort of do a thing that looks like Sudoku. It's going to go on page 60 of your notes. And here we go. Okay, here's our goal as always. Okay, to be able to factor quadratics using the tic-tac-toe method. Now, when we factor like these, okay, they're not always going to be nice and easy where it says like x squared plus 4x plus 5. It's not always going to be that easy. Okay, sometimes they might look ugly, like this one, where it says 7x squared. Okay, now, how do we do that? Well, we do that by using this tic-tac-toe method. Okay, now, you have to be used to saying A, B, and C for quadratics. Okay, in this case, A is 7, okay, B is 73, and C is 90. Okay, now, I purposely chose a very difficult one. Not a very difficult one, but one with pain-in-the-butt numbers so that you could see. Now, first thing I'm going to do is draw a tic-tac-toe grid. Literally, I go like that. Okay? Once I have that, I move on to my next step. Okay? In my next step, in my tic-tac-toe grid, I put the A term, okay, that's supposed to be bold, A term in the first box. So, A term is 7, I put a 7 there. I put the C in the second box. This case, the C is 90, and I put A times C in the third box. So, for those of you who aren't terribly good at math, that's going to be 630. Okay? Now, once I have that, I move on to my next step. Now, normally you guys are just going to be drawing one box the whole time, but I'm drawing 3 so you can work it all out. Now, we have our 7, we have our 90, we have our 630. Okay, we have to figure out which of the factors of the top right box. So, let's pause for a moment. The factors of this. Okay, we have to figure out these factors, but they have to add up to the B term. So I have to pick two numbers that will multiply to 630, okay? But then they have to add to, in this case, they have to add up to 73. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, just so that I remember, okay, I'm going to erase all this really quick. Out here I'm going to say plus 73. Now, luckily this one's going to be slightly easier because I know that 63 times 10 is going to give me 630, or 73. Okay, when I do this times this, it gives me this, and I know that when I do this plus this, it gives me 73. So we're good there. Now, this is what my box is going to look like so far. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. Okay, oops, I've got my box again. Actually, you know what? Like this. I've got my box. 7, 90, 630, 63, and oops, let's go 10. Now here's the tricky part. Here's the part that's kind of like Sudoku. Okay, you see these 4 boxes here? The way it sets up is I have to figure out numbers that create all sorts of multiplication. So basically I have to get it so that this box times this box equals, this first box down here times this box equals that box. Then I have to figure out this number times this number has to equal this number. So whatever number I put right here whatever number I put right here, they must equal 90. Okay? At the same time, though, the number here and the number here have to equal 63. Okay? And the number here times the number here have to equal 10. I'll show you what I mean right now. Okay? I know that 9 times 7 equals 63. That's good. But can I do 9 times some number here to equal 7? No. So that's not going to work. Those numbers don't work. Okay, I do know that 21 times 3 equals 63, but can I do a number here times 21 to equal 7? No, not times, so we're not going to do that. Okay? What I do know, though, that 63 and 7, I know I can put a 7 there, okay? So then I'm going to put a 9 here, because 7 times 9 equals 63. Now, the cool part is that I can do 1 times 7, and that equals 7. Okay? And I know that 7 times 9 equals 63. Now, what goes here? Well, I know 10 works because 1 times 10 equals 10. And magically, 10 times 9 equals 90. So, everything works out. The last step right here is the key. The numbers that are diagonal are factors. So this is one factor. This is a second factor. Okay, the question is, how do I write it? Well, it's going to be 7x plus 10 times x plus 9. Okay, there we go. I think that sounds easy enough, but we're going to do a couple more. Okay, now, in our practice, oh darn it, we just did that one. So forget that one. But we'll pick one that's a little bit easier. Okay? So, first things first, 2, 30. Now, 2 times 30 is 60. Now, the important part, okay, here's the part that's going to give you guys a little bit of trick. These numbers that I picked, the numbers that go here, must add up to negative 17. Okay? Now, the only way to do that is to say, okay, this is going to be negative 12, and this is going to be negative 5. Because negative 5 times negative 12 equals positive 60. Negative 5 plus negative 12 equals negative 17. So, let's take a look now. Okay? Here's another thing I know that's going to work. 2, 5. They are both prime, which means I need to use the number 1. So that's going to help make my life easier. I know that I can put a 1 here, and that has to be a 5. I know I can put a 2 here. That has to be a 6. Now, the question is, though, 2 times 6 does not equal negative 12. It equals positive 12. And 1 times 5 does not equal negative 5, it equals positive 5. So I have to put some negatives somewhere. Okay? Now, just for fun, I'm going to put a negative right here. Okay, well, not for fun, but just because this is where I want to put it. Now, 1 times negative 5 equals negative 5. Check. Okay? But negative 5 times 6 does not equal 30, so that doesn't work. But, you know what does equal 30? Negative 5 times negative 6. So that works. So I'm going to put my negative sign here now too. So now I check. 2 times negative 6, well, that equals negative 5. So I have to put negative signs here. Now I go do my crossing. Okay. And so I know my factors will be 2x, in this case it's going to be 2m minus 5 and m minus 6. Those are my answers for that one. Now for the last one, it's going to be boom, 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 boom. I'm going to have a 3, I'm going to have a 24, and I'm going to have a 72. Now the number again I have to get to is 17. Negative 17. Now I know that 14 and 3 equals 17. Okay, but to get it to be negative, these are both going to have to be negative. Because again, negative times negative equals positive. We're good there. Negative plus negative equals a negative there. Okay? Now, hey, there's a 3 here and a 3 here. I bet that a 3 goes here. Okay, so that means a 1's going to have to go there, which means a 14 is going to have to go there, which means, I think we've gotten ourselves into some trouble here. Okay? Rather than waste your time, I think this one is unfactorable. But I'm not sure. If you can find a factor for it, I'll give you extra credit, otherwise no. Now, the problem with this, make sure that you understand how to do this stuff. If you cannot do this stuff, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, when I say do this stuff, I mean make sure that you understand factors, okay? Factors of big numbers. If you don't understand multiplication, this is going to be tough for you. Otherwise, see you tomorrow. Long video, I know. Sorry.